The unveiling. The vast chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 100 different species shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their eyes fixed on the holographic display at the center of the room. What they saw defied belief. A sleek obsidian warship unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed before. Ambassador Zara of Earth stood tall, her emerald eyes scanning the faces of the alien dignitaries. She could see the shock, the fear, and most importantly, the dawning realization that they had grossly underestimated humanity. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Zara's voice rang out, silencing the murmurs. I present to you the UES Prometheus, Earth's latest achievement in space warfare technology. A collective gasp rippled through the assembly. The Artaxian representative, a being of crystalline structure, vibrated with agitation. Impossible. Earth is a Category 3 civilization. This vessel, it's beyond Econar capabilities. Zara allowed herself a small smile. And yet, here it is. The UES Prometheus rotated slowly in the hologram, its smooth lines belying the destructive power it held. Weapons ports, nearly invisible when closed, lined its hull. The ship's propulsion system emitted no visible exhaust, a feat that had the more technically inclined representatives leaning forward in fascination. High Counselor Vex, an ancient Jotaran with skin like polished obsidian, raised a hand for silence. Ambassador Zara, explain yourself. How has Earth managed to conceal such advancement? This violates numerous treaties. Zara's expression hardened. With all due respect, High Counselor, Earth signed those treaties under duress. We were a young species, thrust into a galactic community that saw us as little more than savages. Those treaties were not mutual agreements, but shackles designed to keep us subservient. The chamber erupted in outrage. Accusations flew, threats were made, but Zara stood unmoved. She had expected this reaction. It was, after all, why the Prometheus had been built in the first place. As the chaos threatened to overwhelm the proceedings, a new voice cut through the din. Enough. All eyes turned to the source. Admiral Helena Chen, commander of the UES Prometheus, strode into the chamber. Her presence, even as a hologram, commanded respect. The assembled aliens fell silent, many shrinking back in their seats. I am Admiral Helena Chen of Earth, she announced, her voice steady and unyielding. I stand before you not as a supplicant, but as an equal. For too long, humanity has been dismissed, our potential stifled by your fears and your rules. Chen gestured, and the hologram shifted to show the Prometheus in action. Asteroids the size of small moons disintegrated under its weapons fire. Its shields shrugged off impacts that would have vaporized lesser ships. We built the Prometheus in secret, yes. Chen continued. We had to. Your spies, your monitoring stations, your cultural exchanges, all designed to keep us in check. But humanity has never been good at staying in the boxes others create for us. High Counselor Vex leaned forward, his multiple eyes narrowing. Are you declaring war, Admiral Chen? Chen's laugh was short and sharp. If we wanted war, High Counselor, we wouldn't be here talking. The Prometheus isn't alone. Earth has an entire fleet of these ships, hidden in subspace pockets throughout the galaxy. The revelation sent another shockwave through the assembly. Subspace technology was theoretical at best, and yet these humans claimed to have mastered it. No, Chen continued, her voice softening slightly. We're not here for war. We're here to renegotiate our place in the galactic community. As equals, not as subjects. Ambassador Zara stepped forward again. The treaties that have bound Earth will be nullified, effective immediately. We are prepared to negotiate new agreements, ones that recognize humanity's true potential and our right to self-determination. The Galactic Council chamber fell into an uneasy silence. The representatives looked to one another, then to High Counselor Vex. The ancient alien's expression was unreadable as he considered the humans before him. Finally, Vex spoke. It seems we have greatly misunderstood the humans. Perhaps it is time we reconsidered our approach." He paused, his gaze moving from Jin to Zora. "Very well, Ambassador. Admiral. The Galactic Council will hear Earth's proposals." As murmurs of agreement, and some of discontent, spread through the chamber, Zara and Chen exchanged a look. This was just the beginning. Humanity had taken its first true step onto the galactic stage, and the universe would never be the same. The UES Prometheus continued its silent rotation in the hologram, a symbol of human ingenuity and determination. The message was clear. Humanity would no longer be ignored or underestimated. The age of human ascendancy had begun, and the stars themselves trembled at the prospect. First contact gone wrong. 20 years earlier, the skies above Earth crackled with energy as the first alien ship descended through the atmosphere. Humanity held its collective breath, eyes turned skyward in a mixture of wonder and trepidation. This was the moment they had dreamed of, feared, and prepared for since they first gazed at the stars. Dr. Ilara Patel stood at the forefront of the welcoming committee, her heart racing. As Earth's leading xenolinguist, she had spent her entire career preparing for this moment. Beside her, General Marcus Blackwood tensed, his hand never straying far from his sidearm. The alien ship, a gleaming construct of what appeared to be living metal, touched down with surprising grace. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sound like 1,000 wind chimes, a portal materialized in the ship's side. 3 beings emerged, each as different from the others as they were from humans. The leader, a tall, willowy creature with iridescent skin, stepped forward. "Greetings, children of Earth," it spoke, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "We are the Galactic Council, and we come to welcome you to the greater community of sapient beings." Dr. Patel stepped forward, her voice steady despite her nerves. "On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to Earth. We are honored by your presence and eager to learn from you." The alien's multifaceted eyes seemed to sparkle with amusement. "Learn from us? Oh yes, there is much for you to learn, little ones. But first, you must understand your place." Before anyone could react, a pulse of energy erupted from the ship. General Blackwood crumpled to the ground, unconscious. Across the globe, reports flooded in of widespread technological failures. "What are you doing?" Dr. Patel demanded, fear and anger warring in her voice. The alien's mental voice was cold now. "Ensuring peace. Your species is young, volatile. For the safety of the galaxy, you must be contained." In the days that followed, Earth learned the harsh realities of galactic politics. The Galactic Council, while presenting itself as a benevolent governing body, was in truth a conglomerate of advanced species that maintained their power by suppressing emerging civilizations. Humanity was classified as a Category 3 civilization, deemed intelligent enough to be useful, but too unpredictable to be allowed free rein. Treaties were forced upon Earth's governments, limiting technological development, restricting space exploration, and placing strict quotas on resource utilization. Dr. Patel, now serving as Earth's unwilling liaison to the Galactic Council, sat in a sterile room aboard the alien ship, her head in her hands. Across from her, General Blackwood paced like a caged lion. "This can't stand," Ilara, Blackwood growled. "They've turned our planet into a glorified prison." Patel looked up, her eyes red-rimmed but filled with determination. "I know, Marcus, but what can we do? Their technology is centuries beyond ours. Any resistance would be crushed instantly." Blackwood stopped pacing, a fierce grin spreading across his face. "Then we don't resist. We comply. We play the obedient little primitives. And all the while, we prepare." "Prepare for what?" Patel asked, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. "For the day we show them exactly what humanity is capable of," Blackwood replied. And so, Operation Prometheus was born. On the surface, humanity appeared to accept its role in the galactic community. They traded their limited resources, shared their culture, and kept to the technological restrictions imposed upon them. But deep beneath the surface of planets and moons, hidden in the shadows of asteroid belts, humanity worked tirelessly. The brightest minds from every field came together in secret, pushing the boundaries of physics, engineering, and computational science. Years passed. The Galactic Council grew complacent, confident in their control over the upstart humans. Their spies reported nothing but compliance and a slow, council-approved progression of technology. They didn't see the quantum computers hidden in the heart of mountains, processing power that rivaled their own supercomputers. They missed the advancements in materials science that led to hull plating stronger than anything in their fleets, and they certainly didn't detect the subspace experiments that would revolutionize faster than light travel. 10 years into the occupation, Dr. Patel stood before a hidden assembly of Earth's leaders. Her face, lined with the stress of a decade of duplicity, was lit with fierce pride. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "Project Prometheus has reached its final stage. The prototype is complete." Gasps and murmurs filled the room as a hologram flickered to life. There, rotating slowly, was the UES Prometheus, humanity's secret weapon and declaration of independence. General Blackwood, now with more gray in his hair, but no less fire in his eyes, stepped forward. "With this ship, we can match anything in the Council's fleet. But we're not stopping at one. We're building a fleet, hidden in subspace pockets throughout our solar system and beyond." A voice from the assembly called out, "But surely they'll detect the resource usage, the energy signatures." Dr. Patel smiled, a hint of mischief in her expression. "They would, if we were using conventional methods. But we've learned more than they could have imagined. We're harvesting zero-point energy directly from the quantum foam. As far as their sensors are concerned, we're still burning fossil fuels and dabbling with fission reactors." The room erupted in cheers and applause. For the first time in a decade, hope blossomed unrestrained. As the assembly celebrated, Patel and Blackwood stood to the side, watching the hologram of the Prometheus. "Do you think we're ready?" Patel asked softly. Blackwood's expression was grim but determined. "Ready or not, we can't wait much longer. Every day under their thumb is a day too long. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you back humanity into a corner." Patel nodded, her gaze fixed on the sleek lines of the ship that represented humanity's future. "Then let's give them a show they'll never forget." As the plans were set in motion, a new chapter in human history began to unfold. The Galactic Council had sought to contain humanity's potential, to keep Earth as a backwater planet of limited use. Instead, they had created the very thing they feared most: a humanity united in purpose, driven by righteous anger, and armed with technology that would reshape the galaxy. The countdown to humanity's revelation had begun, and the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath in anticipation. Operation Nebula Strike. The UES Prometheus hung in the inky blackness of space, its obsidian hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. On the bridge, Admiral Helena Chen stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. The Jotaran outpost loomed before them, a sprawling space station that served as the Galactic Council's primary monitoring facility for Earth's sector. "Status report," Chen barked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Lieutenant Commander Raj Sharma's fingers danced across his console. "All systems nominal. Admiral. Subspace cloak is holding steady. As far as they're concerned, we don't exist." Chen nodded, a grim smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Weapons. Primed and ready," came the reply from Weapons Officer Zoe Martinez. "Quantum torpedoes are locked on their primary power core and communication array." This was it, the moment of truth. After years of preparation, of hiding and building in secret, humanity was about to announce its presence to the galaxy in a way that couldn't be ignored. Chen took a deep breath. "Send the signal." Across the solar system, hidden shipyards burst into activity. Dozens of warships, each a marvel of human ingenuity and determination, slipped out of subspace pockets. The fleet that Earth was never supposed to have assembled in perfect formation, ready to strike. Back on Earth, in a hidden bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Ilara Patel and General Marcus Blackwood watched the operation unfold via quantum-entangled communications. "They have no idea what's coming," Blackwood murmured, a mix of anticipation and worry in his voice. Patel nodded, her expression solemn. "Let's hope this works. If we fail—" "We won't," Blackwood interrupted, his voice firm. "Humanity's future depends on this. Failure is not an option." On the Prometheus, Admiral Chen's voice rang out clear and strong. "This is Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Fleet. To all Earth vessels, commence Operation Nebula Strike." The space around the Jotaran outpost erupted into chaos. Human warships materialized from subspace, their weapons already firing. Quantum torpedoes streaked across the void, each one carrying enough power to level a city. The outpost's defenses scrambled to respond, but they were too slow, too surprised. The first volley struck home, and the station's shields buckled under the onslaught. "Direct hit on their primary power core," Martins reported, a note of fierce pride in her voice. "Their shields are down to 30% and falling." Chen allowed herself a small nod of satisfaction. "Press the advantage. I want that station disabled, not destroyed. We're here to send a message, not start a war." As the Prometheus and its sister ships continued their assault, alarms blared throughout the Galactic Council's territories. The impossible was happening. The humans, those primitive beings they had so carefully contained, were attacking with technologies that shouldn't exist. On Jotar Prime, the Galactic Council convened in an emergency session. High Counselor Vex's normally impassive face was contorted with rage and disbelief. "How is this possible?" he roared. "Their planet is under constant surveillance. There's no way they could have built this fleet without us knowing." A Lumari representative, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with agitation, spoke up. "High Counselor, we're receiving reports of similar attacks on our outposts in 3 other sectors." The humans, they're everywhere. As the Council descended into panic, back at the battle, the tide had decisively turned. The Jotaran outpost, once a symbol of the Council's dominance, now floated powerless in space, its weapons silenced and its communications cut off. Admiral Chen's voice, transmitted on all frequencies, echoed through space. "Attention Galactic Council forces, your outpost has been neutralized. Let this serve as a demonstration of humanity's resolve. We will no longer abide by your unjust restrictions. The treaties are null and void. Earth is free." As cheers erupted on the bridge of the Prometheus, Shan allowed herself a small smile, but she knew this was only the beginning. "Prepare for Phase 2, she ordered. "It's time to make our presence known throughout the galaxy." On Earth, Patel and Blackwood watched the successful operation with a mixture of elation and trepidation. "We did it," Patel breathed, hardly daring to believe it. Blackwood nodded, his expression serious. "We've won the battle, Ilara. But the war? That's just beginning." As news of the human victory spread, reactions across the galaxy were mixed. Some species, long chafing under the Council's restrictive policies, saw a glimmer of hope. Others, particularly those who had benefited from humanity's subservience, reacted with fear and anger. In hidden bases across Earth, production of the advanced fleet kicked into high gear. The element of surprise had given them an edge, but humanity knew they needed every ship, every weapon they could produce to secure their newfound freedom. Admiral Chen's voice crackled over the quantum comm once more. "All ships, form up. We're heading to the Arcturus system. It's time to liberate our off-world colonies." As the Earth fleet jumped to subspace, leaving the broken Jotaran outpost behind, the galaxy held its breath. Humanity had announced its presence on the galactic stage in a way that couldn't be ignored. The carefully maintained balance of power that had kept the Galactic Council in control for millennia was beginning to crumble. In the depths of space, aboard the Prometheus, Admiral Chen stared out at the star-streaked vista of subspace. They had struck the first blow, but she knew the real fight was just beginning. The Council would retaliate, and when they did, they would bring the full might of their vast empire to bear. But as she looked around at her crew, seeing the determination in their eyes and the pride in their bearing, she felt a surge of confidence. Humanity had spent years preparing for this moment, honing their skills and pushing the boundaries of science and technology. They were ready. "Send a message to Earth," Chen ordered. "Tell them to implement the Helios Protocol. It's time to bring our sun into the fight." As the order was relayed, a smile played across Chen's lips. The Galactic Council thought they had seen the extent of humanity's capabilities. They had no idea what was coming next. The battle for Earth's freedom had been won. Now, the war for humanity's place in the galaxy was about to begin. The turning tide. The vast expanse of the Arcturus system blazed with the light of battle. Human warships danced through the void, their movements precise and deadly. Against them, the hastily assembled Galactic Council fleet struggled to maintain cohesion. Admiral Helena Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Status report," she commanded, her voice calm despite the chaos unfolding around them. "Our forces have breached the enemy's outer defenses," Lieutenant Commander Sharma reported. "The Helios Protocol is ready for activation on your command." Chen nodded, a grim smile playing at her lips. "Initiate the protocol. Let's show them what a star can do in human hands." Back in the Sol system, deep within the corona of Earth's sun, a massive structure stirred to life. The Helios Array, a triumph of human engineering and the pinnacle of their energy manipulation technology, began to hum with power. On Earth, Dr. Ilara Patel stood in the control room of the Helios Command Center, her fingers flying over holographic controls. "Helios Array is online," she reported through the quantum comm. "Ready to transmit on your mark, Admiral." In the Arcturus system, Chen gave the order. "Helios Array, fire at will." For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a beam of pure solar plasma, hotter than the core of a star and more focused than any weapon in known space, lanced across the light years. It struck the Galactic Council's flagship with unerring precision, vaporizing it instantly. The battlefield fell silent for a heartbeat as both sides processed what they had just witnessed. Then chaos erupted. "By the cosmic servant," a Jotaran captain breathed, his multiple eyes wide with disbelief. "They've weaponized their star." Panic spread through the Council fleet. Ships began to break formation, some fleeing outright. The human forces pressed their advantage, their weapons tearing through the disorganized enemy. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. "Send the message," she ordered. Across all frequencies, in every language known to the galaxy, the proclamation went out. "Attention, forces of the Galactic Council. You have witnessed but a fraction of humanity's true capabilities. Stand down and withdraw from all Earth-controlled space immediately, or face the consequences." As the Council fleet scattered, Chen turned to her communications officer. "Get me a secure line to Earth. It's time for Phase 3. Half a galaxy away, on Jotar Prime." The Galactic Council was in uproar. High Counselor Vex struggled to maintain order as representatives from 100 species shouted over each other. "Silence!" Vex roared, his obsidian skin crackling with suppressed energy. As the chamber quieted, he continued, his voice low and dangerous. "We have underestimated the humans, a mistake we will not make again." A Lumari representative spoke up, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with agitation. "High Counselor, we've just received word. The humans have liberated their colonies in the Arcturus system. Our forces there have been annihilated." Murmurs of disbelief and fear rippled through the assembly. Vex's eyes narrowed. How have they achieved this level of technology in mere decades? "It appears," the Lumari continued, her voice trembling, "that they have found a way to harness and transmit the power of their star across vast distances. Our scientists, they're saying it should be impossible. Vex sank back into his chair, for the first time in centuries feeling the weight of his age. We sought to contain them, he mused, almost to himself. Instead, we forced them to innovate beyond our wildest nightmares. As the Council grappled with this new reality, humanity's plan entered its next phase. Across the galaxy, on planets, moons, and space stations, carefully placed human agents sprang into action. On the desert world of Kaldorn, a trade hub vital to the Council's economy, all ship traffic suddenly ground to a halt as control systems mysteriously failed. In the sprawling shipyards of Omega Centauri, production lines froze as quantum viruses infiltrated their networks. And on a dozen other key worlds, fusion reactors unexpectedly powered down, plunging entire cities into darkness. Back on the Prometheus, Admiral Chen received the reports with grim satisfaction. "Well done," she murmured. Turning to her crew, she raised her voice. "Prepare for Phase 4. It's time to take the fight to the heart of the Council." As the human fleet regrouped, a new ship emerged from subspace. Sleeker and deadlier than even the Prometheus, its hull seemed to drink in the light of nearby stars. This was the UES Olympus, the true flagship of humanity's armada, kept hidden until this crucial moment. Chen's eyes gleamed as she regarded the new arrival. "Sharma, prepare for transfer of command. The Olympus will lead our charge to Jotar Prime." As preparations for the final assault began, Dr. Patel's voice came through on the quantum comm. "Admiral, we're detecting massive subspace disturbances. It looks like the Council is mobilizing everything they have." Chen nodded, unsurprised. "Let them come. Humanity has spent years preparing for this moment. We'll meet them head-on." Across the galaxy, ships of all shapes and sizes converged on Jotar Prime. The Galactic Council, for the first time in its long history, faced an existential threat. Species that had been bitter enemies for millennia now fought side by side against the human onslaught. But humanity was not without allies. Races that had long chafed under the Council's restrictive policies saw an opportunity in the chaos. Rebellions erupted on a dozen worlds, further stretching the Council's resources. As the two massive fleets drew near to each other, the galaxy held its breath. The next few hours would determine the course of galactic history for centuries to come. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the Olympus, surveying the battlefield before her. The combined might of the Galactic Council loomed ahead, a vast armada of ships stretching as far as the eye could see. "Orders, Admiral," her XO asked, tension evident in his voice. Chen's eyes narrowed, a fierce determination settling over her features. "All ships, battle formation Delta. Prepare to engage." She paused, then added, "And get me a channel to High Counselor Vex. It's time we had a chat." As the human fleet moved into position, Chen's message went out across the void. The fate of humanity, and indeed the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The final battle was about to begin. A new era dawns. The space around Jotar Prime blazed with the fury of 1,000 suns. Energy weapons lanced across the void, while swarms of fighters danced intricate patterns of death among the capital ships. At the heart of the human fleet, the UES Olympus stood resolute, its advanced shields shrugging off attacks that would have vaporized lesser vessels. On the bridge, Admiral Helena Chen watched the battle unfold with steely determination. "Status report," she commanded, her voice cutting through the controlled chaos of the command center. "Our lines are holding, Admiral," Lieutenant Commander Sharma reported. "The Helios array is keeping the enemy's southern flank pinned down, but their numbers are still overwhelming." Chen nodded, her mind racing through possibilities. "And the channel to High Counselor Vex." "Ready when you are, ma'am." Taking a deep breath, Chen straightened her uniform. "Put him through." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of High Counselor Vex. His obsidian skin seemed to absorb the light around him, his multiple eyes fixed on Chen with a mixture of fury and grudging respect. Admiral Chen, Vex's voice rumbled. I hope you realize the futility of your actions. You've caused quite a stir, but surely you must see that you cannot hope to defeat the combined might of the Galactic Council. Chen's lips curved into a cold smile. With all due respect, High Counselor, I don't think you fully grasp the situation. We're not here to defeat you. We're here to change everything. As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the Council fleet. Ship after ship suddenly lost power, their engines sputtering out and weapons falling silent. Vex's eyes widened in shock. What have you done? Something you thought impossible, Chen replied. We've turned your own technology against you. Every ship in your fleet that was built in the last century has human-designed quantum processors at its core. Processors that we've just activated with a kill switch. The implications hit Vex like a physical blow. The Council had become so confident in their superiority that they'd grown careless, eagerly adopting the efficient quantum processors that the primitive humans had been allowed to develop. Now that arrogance had become their undoing. This is your final warning, High Counselor, Chen continued, her voice hard. Stand down your forces and prepare to negotiate, or we will be forced to take more drastic measures. For a long moment, Vex was silent, his ancient eyes surveying the battlefield where his mighty fleet now drifted powerless. Finally, he spoke, his voice heavy with the weight of millennia. You leave us no choice, Admiral. We will negotiate. As the ceasefire was called, Chen allowed herself a small sigh of relief. The gambit had paid off, but she knew the real challenge was just beginning. Hours later, in the Grand Assembly Hall of Jotar Prime, representatives from every spacefaring race in the known galaxy gathered. The tension in the air was palpable as High Counselor Vex took the central podium, flanked by Admiral Chen and Dr. Ilara Patel. Esteemed members of the galactic community, Vex began, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. We stand at a crossroads. The events of recent days have shaken the very foundations of our society. The humans, a species we sought to contain, have demonstrated power and ingenuity beyond anything we thought possible. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Vex raised a hand for silence before continuing. It is clear that our current system is no longer tenable. Therefore, I propose a restructuring of the Galactic Council, one that will ensure equal representation and opportunities for all species, regardless of their technological development. As Vex outlined the proposal, Chen and Paddle exchanged glances. This was more than they had hoped for. A complete overhaul of the galactic political system, with humanity given a seat at the table as equals. When Vex finished speaking, Chen stepped forward. On behalf of Earth and all human colonies, we accept this proposal. But let me be clear, this is not about replacing one tyranny with another. Humanity seeks cooperation, not domination. We believe that together, we can achieve greatness beyond anything we could accomplish alone. Dr. Patel then took the floor, her voice ringing with passion. Fellow sentients, we stand on the brink of a new era. Earth is prepared to share its advancements. Our zero-point energy technology, our quantum computing breakthroughs, even the Helios array. In return, we ask only for open exchange of knowledge and a commitment to mutual growth and understanding. The assembly erupted into a cacophony of voices, some excited, some skeptical, but all engaged. As the debate raged on, the shape of a new galactic order began to emerge. In the days and weeks that followed, treaties were drawn up and signed. The restrictive policies of the old council were dismantled, replaced by a more egalitarian system that encouraged innovation and cooperation. Earth, once a backwater planet, became a hub of interstellar commerce and scientific research. 1 month after the Battle of Jotar Prime, Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly christened Galactic Unity Station, watching ships from 100 worlds come and go. Dr. Patel joined her, a look of wonder on her face. Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this? Patil asked, gesturing at the bustling spaceport before them. Chen shook her head, a small smile playing at her lips. Honestly, I thought we'd be lucky to survive, let alone thrive. But humanity has always had a knack for exceeding expectations. As they watched, a sleek ship unlike anything they'd seen before glided into the docking bay. Its hull shimmed with colors that shouldn't exist in normal space, a product of joint human and Lumari engineering. That's the future right there, Patil mused. Not just human, not just alien, but something new. Something better. Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the horizon of possibilities stretching out before them. We've taken our first steps into a larger universe. Now, the real journey begins. As the two women stood there, contemplating the future they had helped forge, a message flashed across the station's information boards. The first Joint Human Council Deep Space Expedition was preparing to launch, ready to explore beyond the boundaries of known space. Humanity had not just secured its place among the stars. It had changed the very nature of galactic civilization. The age of isolation and fear was over. A new era of cooperation and discovery had dawned, and the universe itself seemed to pulse with newfound energy and potential. As ships from 100 worlds danced among the stars, the message was clear. Together, there was nothing they couldn't achieve. The galaxy would never be the same again, and the best was yet to come.